President Cyril Ramaphosa will today travel to Malaysia, where he will attend the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. That's a summit that's being held in Kuala Lumpur. The president has concluded his state visit to Vietnam.
South Africa sees Vietnam as a key partner in our export diversification strategy, and we are encouraged by the steady growth in trade and investment in our two countries. And this impacts on how our various businesses continue to grow, from your large corporates to your small and medium enterprises. This visit forms part of a broader effort to strengthen South Africa's engagement with Southeast Asia, a region of growing strategic importance for us as South Africa, as we seek to broaden our market access across the world. Our participation in the 47th ASEAN Summit as a guest of the chair, and our recent recognition as a sectoral dialogue partner of ASEAN reflects our commitment to fostering interregional cooperation between Africa and Asia.
So to unpack the importance of this three-nation tour, let's chat to SABC News specialist correspondent Sophie Mokoena. Sophie, a very compact program in Asia. Why is this so important? Well, maybe I should ask you, how important is this three-nation tour?
Well, it's quite important because South Africa is trying to expand its trade relations with other regions. As you know, that since the United States of America took a decision to impose tariffs on many countries, including South Africa, the countries are working hard to ensure that they are able to reach out to other countries with the intention to expand alternative markets. And South Africa is doing that. And Asia is one region where there are opportunities for goods coming from South Africa to be exported to those countries. Let's start with Indonesia, where he started. You know that it was in 2023 where the leader of Indonesia did send his envoy, the foreign affairs minister, to persuade South Africa to support its request to join BRICS, and also to talk about extending trade relations between the two countries, promising to import meat from South Africa. And therefore, the president is building on that. When you look at Vietnam also, you know that the SA ambassador, Wiswa Tulelo, has been working very hard to ensure that the relationship between Vietnam and South Africa that dates back to exile years, it's not just a political one, but also it does involve trade.
So, I mean, the president, as we said in the introduction, is expected to attend the ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur, even though South Africa is actually not a part of this group. The agenda, what are we looking at here?
The agenda is to look at regional cooperation and also enhancing partnerships with external partners and also internal partners. And that is why the leader of Malaysia has invited South Africa, even though South Africa is not a member of that group. But secondly, this is part of the South-South development and also strengthening of that South-South cooperation, and also part of course, the quest to ensure that you have a better relationship with Africa and South Africa, in particular as the member of the G20. And when you look at the agenda of this summit, it is almost similar to the G20 summit, even though the use of words, for example, the expansion of development and closing the gap, which is almost like dealing with unfair trade relations, and also economic integration, the digital transformation, the regional security, and also sustainable climate. It's almost similar as the G20. So I think there's going to be synergy to ensure that what came out of that summit in Malaysia, you have the G20 leaders here some of them who are members of the same group continuing to emphasize these important issues at this critical moment. And we know that President Trump will also attend the summit, and therefore it becomes even more important to engage the U.S. on the recent trade war that they have waged against many countries.
Yeah, indeed. And I also saw something about President Trump basically scrapping talks to try and alleviate tariffs with Canada after an advert that was making the rounds. Anyway, I just saw that breaking news coming through this morning. Perhaps we'll look at that later. But from our point of view, I just want to conclude by asking about the Minister of Agriculture. We see that he is a part of this state visit to Vietnam. Any announcement as it relates to agriculture? Because I can imagine the linkage is big there.
It's quite important for the Minister of Agriculture to be part of this delegation, because you really want to ensure that our products do find markets in different parts of the world, with America giving us a tough time. But also politically, for me, when I looked at the leader of the DA, a few years, this was a taboo, how critical the DA was on the former communist countries or socialist countries. He started with China. We saw him there, but you'd recall what was the position of the party previously. And therefore, that speaks to the changing political global balance of forces, but also here at home, that it's becoming a reality. The reality has dawned to all those parties that were critical about certain countries that had relationship with the former liberation organization, the ANC, particularly in the socialist countries or the so-called communist countries. And to see the minister Steenhuisen there, what came to my mind was that shift. And I think it becomes a story on its own, but the reality is he's there to ensure that he's able to ensure that you have better access to Asian markets for South African products. As I pointed out, in 2023, the envoy from Indonesia was here pushing and saying that they will take agricultural products from South Africa.
All right, Sophie, always a pleasure speaking to you about these international affairs and many other issues. Sophie Mokoena joining us here, our SABC News specialist correspondent, talking about this meeting where the president is traveling to in Malaysia. He's attending the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN Summit, that's happening in Kuala Lumpur.